There are three responses that I will have. One is that there is nothing negative in inserting in our constitution the provision for referendum for whoever wants to. It is not anything negative. It is those who are benefiting from this vicious system who regard the provision of referendum as wanting to break up Nigeria. It's a shameful, very ignorant perspective. Number two, I think the majority of the people from the eastern part, what they're insisting upon is a federal system upon which we secured our independence. That's what they want.
Not necessarily Biafra.
Not necessarily Biafra. It's because of the absence of a federal arrangement. Because by the military organogram, some people who have captured Nigeria have cornered it, and then they've turned themselves to be the owners of Nigeria, while others are on the sideline watching them. So it is those people who are being sidelined, abandoned, ignored, who are clamoring for something like Biafra, IPOB. It's the same reason for what you call Egbesu, Niger Delta Avengers. It's the same thing that when you hear the OPC in the Yoruba land here talking about it, when you talk about middle belt youth leaders, it's the same thing. Agitation for equitable distribution of national resources. Let us have, because we are heterogeneous people of diverse culture and tradition, religion. So each one should live a free, independent life, but to coordinate at the center. That is what federal constitutional arrangement guarantees to us, and that's on the basis upon which we secure our independence. So that is what Nigerians are clamoring for. And in any sane society where people are honest with themselves, when you don't have dubious elements in office as leaders, where there is agitation, persistent agitations from different quarters of your country, and such agitations are being followed up with some measure of violence, it tells you that it is time to sit down, to renegotiate your mutual coexistence. And there have been quite a number of eminent Nigerians who have spoken of recent. One of the immediate Chief Justice of Nigeria, Dahiru Mustafa, last year he gave a lecture at Chief Alani Bankole's birthday. And he said, Nigerians are more divided today than they were in 1960 when we got independence. That it was time for Nigeria to sit down to renegotiate our mutual coexistence. Quite a number of people have gone. That's what Babangida himself was talking about. So any sane person ought to appreciate that. And I'm saying this as a warning. Anyone who is still off his mind and imagines that what those of them, preponderance of them in the military leadership who are still holding the reign of power today, if they imagine that what they did to us before the advent of NADECO, they can still do so today, they must be jokers. Certainly, things have changed radically. Nigerians have been opened up to the world. And with the advent of the social media and the internet, one single event here within the next 2 minutes can be viral. And finally, on this course, it must be, you must know, any country where they are using force of arms to hold them together can never last. Today on the world map, you don't have the Union of Soviet Social Republic a Soviet republic any longer. USSR is no more the world map. What you now have is Russia. Once upon a time, there used to be called a place they called Czechoslovakia. It's no more in place. Abi? Even the worst mercenary of imperialism is Great Britain. It has been forced to concede some concession to Scotland, to Irish, to Wales, and there's nothing they can do about it because self-determination is the anthem of this new millennium. Nobody wants to be lorded over by the other person. This is one area where I'm on all fours with President Muhammadu Buhari. I believe that he's genuinely committed to fighting corruption. And I do not see anyone in the offing who can take the challenge he has taken. And I think that he's facing seriously the backlash of his tenacity to fight corruption right now. I pray that God grants him back his earth. What has happened is that, we have 3 tiers of government. Unlike when he was a military head of state, when his wars were laws, has decreased. Today, he has to contend with the legislature, where a big chunk of his leadership are corruption personified. And I say that for a sense of responsibility. All scandalous revelations in the media are associated with the leadership of the Nigerian Senate. And even that the House of Rep, that are nobody is doing anything about that. Now, that's why when I granted an interview about a year ago to the Punch, and then they gave the title 2 pages that Buhari cannot fight corruption with Saraki as Senate leader. That's what the title the Punch gave it. And it has proven to be true. And look, in that Senate, there are quite a number of former governors there who are being prosecuted by the EFCC for corruption. There are quite a number of them who are senators there, who are contractors being prosecuted or being investigated by EFCC. So quite a number of them will never want corruption to be fought. So they constitute an impediment. Again, having regard to the past regime that Buhari met in office, there have been degeneration in the Nigerian judiciary. The Nigerian judiciary itself, as presently constituted, is not supporting the fight against corruption. That's why, look, one of the institutions, greatest institution created by Nigerian Constitution is what they call the NJC, National Judicial Council. The composition of that, the composition of that institution is unsustainable. It ought not to be allowed to remain. Because rather than do its job as administrative head that will bring about some measure of discipline into the judiciary to ensure that judges and justices perform excellently well. That body that has been turned into a body that is creating, making judiciary to be a refuge for scoundrels, for corrupt elements to hide. Deborah Buhari had gone ahead to establish a committee under the chairmanship of Professor Ise Sage. And that committee had done tremendous work. They've done tremendous, they produced a draft bill of manual for prosecution. They've gone ahead now to ensure that where there are allegations, petition against somebody, the investigator, the prosecutor, and some element of the judiciary, they combine together to do all the necessary work so that in their investigation, what will bring about successful prosecution, they must be mindful of them. They have done some training all over the country. They have now produced that manual for prosecution, but do you know that that bill, as sent to them by the Attorney General, has been in the National Assembly for more than 5 months now. Our National Assembly had not touched it. So when they talk about selective prosecution, it's all around nonsense. In any case, who are the people in power in the years back? Was it not PDP element? So people like that, they don't want to be exposed. You hear ragamuffin, not do well, like Fire say. Media reports showed the video too on video. I collected money from the NSA as taken to him by Muslim Obanikoro, and now they rigged the election in Ekiti. Keep on talking, lambasting Buhari. So they just need that. They are seeking for attention. They should be ignored. It is a sad day for the country. It presents Nigeria as an insidious country, a country that has no national values, no national ethos, no national principles. 3, it shows that corruption pays in Nigeria, and young people who have seen the way the likes of Bukola Saraki behave, are encouraged to continue to behave so. And it should not surprise you that his corrupt colleagues said they will be with him. They follow him to the appeal courts. They still have confidence in him. This time, for the advantage of our people to be given the broad understanding of what the situation is, there are quite a few decent people in the National Assembly, both in the Senate and the House of Rep. So I'm not about to totally condemn every one of them. But the greatest number of them were part of the 5 leprous fingers of Abacha's hand. So, and to explain the background, let me state as follows. Executive presidential system, which is a novelty created and fashioned by the American people, is unique to them. The military fostered the executive presidential system on us in 1979. When President Murtala Mohammed was inaugurating the Constitutional Drafting Committee, he decreed that was what they should go and fashion out. Because perhaps it's akin to the military organogram system of executive authority flowing from the top. But these are the features that we have not adhered to here. Executive presidential system is prone to regular conflict. 2, executive presidential system thrives on sufficient regular interdependency of all the three tiers. For example, the National Assembly cannot even start at all until it is proclaimed by the president. You see how independent they are? They cannot even function at all, no matter, until they are proclaimed into session by the president. That is when they can now elect their senior officers, who will then swear in the other members. Now, if they make laws, because they're the lawmakers, the laws they've made doesn't become law, or it is signed by the executive. Abi? It is the executive who nominates the Chief Justice to the Senate for confirmation, and it swears him in. But it's the judiciary led by the Chief Justice that interprets the law that are made and settle rift between the two, executive and legislature. You see that they are interdependent. Okay. When it comes to matter of budget matter, appropriation, I want to say this. There's a great urgent need for Nigerians to be educated. Nigerian population have a wrong understanding of the responsibility of the legislature. And that's part of the problem. Most Nigerians will accuse legislatures who cannot bring anything to its consequence as having failed. He has not brought any project. Legislators are supposed to make laws. They are not supposed to execute projects. Execution of projects belong to the realm and powers of the executive. So our people need information. They need to be educated. They need to be conscientized to appreciate the limitation of the lawmakers. Because of that kind of queer attitude and misunderstanding by our people, many of the lawmakers go the extra mile to misbehave. Now, matter connected with what they call constituency project is an unconstitutional matter. It has not found in the constitution at all.